Well, first of all, I'd like to start by thanking everyone for your contribution to A Better Start to date. It's because of your time, effort, energy, passion, commitment that we're all standing here or sitting here today, poised to embark on stage 2. But before we do, we wanted to take this opportunity to pause and reflect on stage 1 and highlight a number of key things for you to consider as you work up your stage 2 proposals. The first is leadership. The nature of the issue that we're addressing through this investment requires leadership which moves beyond protocols and written agreements to a focus on behavioural and cultural change. This needs to be led from the front so that we model the behaviour we seek in delivery and practice. The money, the evidence and the approach in of itself won't catalyse and embed the nature of the change that we're seeking. This is a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and for our part, we're underwriting the opportunity for this change to take place clear that this requires leadership, style and settlement locally that has the needs of parents and babies as its starting point for designing and delivering services. At stage 2, we wanted to understand areas for a plan for a better start. Sorry, at stage 1. At stage 2, we expect you to sharpen both your outcomes and, very importantly, your delivery plans. A significant part of decision making at stage 2 will be to identify those partnerships that will actually deliver a great A Better Start programme. As you know, one of the key features of A Better Start is that there'll be a systems change in the way that local health, public services and the voluntary sector work together to put prevention in early life at the heart of service delivery and practice. Kate, Naomi and George will expand on the role of health, the tensions in deciding on which interventions, and also social and emotional development later in this session, but I would like to highlight the money. A significant manifestation of systems change is a change in how money is spent and over an extended period of time. System reform will require a shift in public expenditure at a local level, and we expect A Better Start to be a catalyst for this. This means that we want real commitment from partners to commit statutory budget to embed services in the broader A Better Start programme. The bank is a financial governance framework being developed for better evidence for A Better Start, which specifically addresses this issue. In terms of interventions, I've already mentioned the need to sharpen outcomes, and although we've asked you to articulate social and emotional development, communication and language development, and diet and nutrition as separate outcomes, we don't expect these to be treated as separate activities in every instance. And we want you to consider how each activity undertaken can maximise its impact across these 3 key development areas. So, delivery considerations. Now, I appreciate there are a multitude of things to consider when you're developing your detailed delivery plans, but I've pulled out 5 specific areas to focus with you on today. At stage 2, we want to see detailed implementation plans and milestones for the first 18 months of the programme, so that's 6 months of setup and the first 12 months of delivery, with a sliding scale of detail for the following years. And for those that are successful, there'll be regular review points over the 10 years of the initiative. We want to be very clear about the difference you intend to make over the lifetime of the Better Start and the numbers of people, babies and children who will benefit. We also want to know who the key delivery staff will be, with an appropriate balance between statutory, volunteers and voluntary sector, and to understand how these staff will be identified, recruited, trained and retained. As cultural issues are deeply embedded in pregnancy, birth and baby care, we expect diversity to play an important part in plans. Likewise, special education needs and disability issues to feature strongly. IT and data sharing is an area where we do have some concerns that stage 1 planning might not have adequately covered, and stage 2 planning will need further consideration of what IT systems or investment in IT systems are needed. And we also want you to incorporate data integration and data sharing into your plans. Likewise, premises and points of delivery. We have some concerns that development plans at stage 1 may not adequately cover capital budget building considerations. So we're going to provide you with some additional support. to make sure that where premises are points of delivery, they're operational as soon as possible, and that timescales are realistic. And we have Alex Edwards, who's standing at the back, who's kind of waving. So if you have any questions about the capital aspects of your proposals, do grab Alex and have a chat with him throughout the day. One final point about premises and points of delivery. We also want to understand how the harder to reach will be reached. And our fifth point is timescale. An understanding of how much can be achieved and within what timescale is critical at this next stage. We want you to be realistic about how quickly things can happen, how important change readiness is, and also to give attention to building a really strong shared understanding of what a better start is all about. Now, before I hand over to Kate, I'd like to make a final point about the evaluation. As you've just heard from Andrew, and we'll find out more about later today, Bing is investing in 2 significant evaluations of a better start. So what does that mean to your evaluation plans? If you do identify an evidence need around a particular issue or intervention that's not already part of these evaluations, then you can put forward proposals for specific research projects. We'll look at how they complement and add value to the 2 initiative-wide evaluations, and we'll make a decision on whether to support your proposals accordingly. Just to let you know as well, all of these key messages will be made available afterwards, so if you haven't managed to capture them, we'll be making sure that they go out. And I'd like to hand over to Kate.